Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I believe every BMW owner needs to check this now. And that's purely because one of my followers on Instagram actually sent me a video regarding this car and his part actually failing. Now, I don't know if this actually failed from user error or just because of high mileage, or as these cars are probably getting on now, you know, they're producing a lot of engine heat, they're getting older. These parts can become brittle, fail. But what he actually showed me, I was actually in shock. And I'm going to be showing you what that was on this video. Now, many of you would have seen, I actually replaced this when I actually got this car, probably around 140K. But I'm going to be replacing it again, and I'm going to be checking it all again, because after he sent me that video, obviously I want to be sure, because his was only on 150K. Bearing in mind this is on 170K. Now, if this is becoming a common problem, then I expect it's going to be a common problem across the board, and it's probably the parts that either people are fitting, or it's not come with the correct part that's meant to be in place as well with this part when you actually buy it. So let's get onto this video so I can show you what it is I'm actually talking about, and let's get removing it on mine, because I already have a new one to put on here along with another new item as well I'm going to be replacing, just to be on the safe side.
Goddamn, get it done, will ya? Woo. When the blow up now, everybody's so unusual with it. Shit. But said times in his rhymes, cause his memories. We running through New York, so you know.
So what I'm going to be doing here, just so you guys get a better view of exactly what I'm doing and what I'm going to be changing, I'm going to be removing all this slam panel right here. We're going to take all this off. It ain't hard at all. You just got one bolt in the corner here, another one over here, two up there, one in the middle right there, and the same thing going around here, and it will just move out the way for you. That will expose obviously the fan underneath. Once your fan's actually exposed, then I'll be showing you the part you guys really do need to check. Because as I said to you, when my follower actually sent me this, I was actually in shock. He is the first person I've only seen this happen to. And as I said, this could have been done in user error, but I'm taking no chances, and you guys shouldn't either, because it may have just failed due to, you know, a cheap one being put on, but he assured me it wasn't a cheap one, it was an original one. Mechanic fitted it for him, so I don't know, and I'll be showing you how it probably did fail and what they probably didn't check when we get to the part. So we're gonna get removing this. These are all the Torx 30. Take out all these bolts, swing it out the way, if you do have an E60 that is. So I'll just go ahead now and remove all the bolts. Now once you've actually removed them bolts, you just got the two here. So then once you've got all the bolts off, you'll just lift this out the way and move it there. Now we have access to where we want to be, so we'll start doing what we need to now. Okay guys, so as you can see, I'm facing the camera down here. Now this is towards the belt area. Now I am going to be removing the belt before I remove the part that you guys actually need to check. Now this part isn't easily accessible with this slam panel bit on. That's why you need to remove it. Also, this is why it goes undetected and why people don't know it actually fails, because you can't actually see it until it's too late. You don't even hear it. It's not like the tensioner itself. So we're going to be removing this right now. I'm just going to take the belt off and then leave that to come back, just like that. We're just going to get this belt out of here, because I believe it's all oiled up anyway, and we've got a new one to go on. So I'll just take this belt off. If you can see, this belt isn't really in good shape. You can see there it's all cut as well, all over there, and it's starting to be stripped. And you can see how worn it is. Now this has been on the car since 140K, and you can feel, actually feels quite loose, so it don't feel as tight as it did where it's been stretched. That's why I'm changing it. It's got oil over it. You guys remember I changed the oil cooler, so that has to come off, and I'm glad I got that off. I have got a new one, so I'm going to be replacing it anyway. Now the piece that BMW owners actually overlook, and this is the part we're actually going to be replacing today, is this down here, which is the idler pulley. Now I'm going to show you how an idler pulley should look. Now these are used on all engines. I'm just going to get the cap off first. These are used on diesels, these are used on the petrol engines, these are used on all engines. And some people call them the idler pulley, overrun pulley, alternator pulley. There's all different names for them. But these are a very common pulley. These are used on the M5 as well. These are used a lot. But the problem with these is if not fitted correctly, they will come loose. And when they come loose, it's just as bad as your tensioner going loose. It will derail your whole drive belt system. Now, as you can see, there's no play in that tensioner. That's because I already replaced it. That's actually perfect. That's not going to give no issues. So I am going to take off that pulley right there. Now to release that pulley, it is a 16mm socket, and you ain't gonna have much room down here either to actually break it free. So now we've got that loose. What I'm gonna do is just gonna take the bolt off, and I'm gonna show you why this actually fails. Now do remember, these come with a new bolt, so you don't really need to reuse the old one. Now, as you'll see, I've now released it. Now, if you look at this pulley, you wouldn't think anything of it. Now that's a bearing, so you can hear when obviously this has got play in it and when it's actually knackered, because it will have play in it, bearings will be shot. If you can see here, this is a crush washer or a plate, which actually comes off. Now, when the guy actually showed me what actually happened to his, he didn't have one of these on his actual pulley. Now, if you can imagine, this has been tightened up to the actual alternator, just underneath the alternator where it's meant to go. I'm very surprised he didn't cross the threads. But what's actually happened is, well, if you don't use this washer, this pulley can't actually spin freely with the belt. So then what actually happens, it makes it very tight. So then this actually starts backing off because you can't get the right torque on it to tighten it down. You end up with the pulley not spinning, which in turn ends up breaking. And that's what actually happened on his. His actually broke off, actually come loose, let his whole belt go because he didn't have this backing plate on. Now, this is something I do advise BMWs to make sure they check and make sure they replace all the time, because these, as you can see, get very badly oiled up from oil leaking down from, if you do an oil filter housing gasket, oil cooler leak, it will leak down onto this plate behind it and completely destroy the idler pulley. This is something a lot of people fail to check, and you can probably see just down here on my alternator, I've got oil just all down here, literally, so all oiled up where the pulley actually sits. And this is one of the reasons why you have to be actually checking these, because if you don't know that, this is how they actually fail, and you can actually prevent that by just making sure your pulley actually comes back, because I do know a lot of them, if you do get them and you don't get the inner ones like I get, this will not come with it. A lot of places do not send this with it, and then a lot of people will just install it like that. And now, like I said, it's not the guy's fault, it's not the garage's fault. If you never worked on BM, they have to come with this to make them spin properly. Otherwise they will not spin, they'll be tight, and then that will cause a lot of damage to your actual engine, your belt, your tensioner, the lot. So do make sure you have that when you actually replace your idler pulley. Now I do have a new one I am going to put on, and I'll show you how this is meant to come in the box with your idler pulley. So you can see there, I've got a new belt, which is a Gates one, right one for it. And this is our new idler pulley, which is, you can see, is an inner one, which I'm replacing. The reason I didn't replace the tension is because I knew it would be fine. Now, if you can see, the new inner one comes with this plate on the back, which helps you be able to torque it down, but also not over tighten it that it can't spin either. You've also got your cap as well that covers over the screw. So obviously you don't want the screw to get wet, rusted or anything like that, that you won't be able to take it off the next time. So that's why you've got the cap here as well. It protects obviously the bearings inside the pulley as well. We are going to be putting this on, bolted back to just underneath the alternator, 16mm socket. It doesn't have to be tight. Do remember that, guys. I know a lot of people go crazy with this. It don't have to be overly tight at all. Do not crush this, or otherwise your pulley still will not spin. So do remember, just tighten it. I would say hand tight. I've never had an issue when I've tightened them hand tight. And that one still didn't have a problem, but I was just showing you what can actually happen if you don't have that plate. And realistically, I had a new one to change anyway, and that's the reason why I'm actually doing this video. So we're going to put this on and put a new belt on as well, and get this car back to, you know, having everything brand new on it, because as I said to you, I am overhauling everything on this car. So it ain't hard to just start screwing on, guys. You just find the thread just underneath the alternator pulley, and that's about it. Just start turning it on. Turn it on by hand and then tighten it down with your ratchet. That's all there is to it. We'll just put our 16mm on and then just tighten it back down to the way it was. And that's about tight enough. Now what we'll do is we'll put our cap back on, just like that. So it protects it, and that's that done. As I said, guys, do not go crazy on tightening it. It does not have to be too tight. And this pulley is used on all the diesels, petrols, the lot, especially the idler pulley. Not so much the tensioner, but the idler pulley is used on all of them. Now we do have our new belt as well, so we're just gonna route this around every pulley that we need to. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna lock the tensioner down, put the belt over the tensioner, And that's it. All you need for that is a T55, and that's about it. Just make sure all your belt is all over your pulleys, which it should be. Very, very easy to route the belt on the N52 engine. So the routine for the N52 engine is very, very easy. You can't get it mixed up. Obviously, you have your tensioner there. You want to route your belt. So over the alternator, round the idler pulley, back under the idler pulley, round the power steering pump, back round onto the AC belt, pull it through the crankshaft and onto the tensioner. Very, very simple to do. You can't get it mixed up, and anyone can do it at home. As you've seen there, I have changed my idler pulley and changed the belt on this car, and you could see how bad mine was. Bearing in mind, I only changed my belt on 140K, and that belt is already worn, and I'm on 170K only. So that's why it makes sense to always change your belts, especially if you do a lot of driving and a lot of miles in the car, especially motorway mileage. Make sure to change them and check your drive belt system. Okay guys, so as you've seen there, you've now seen the importance of why you need to check this particular part, which is right here, which is the idler pulley on your BMW. As I said to you, all the engines use these, and this is a very, very common idler pulley. It's even found on my BMW M5. You use them on the diesels, on the N52s, the N54s. It's very, very common that a lot of BMWs use this pulley. And as I said to you, a lot of the time they don't come with this backing plate right here, and this is very, very crucial that it comes with that. As I said to you, that will stop the pulley spinning, and what will happen is the belt will just keep spinning it and spinning it to the point it just ends up breaking off because it cannot take the force. It will end up overheating it. You'll end up just destroying the whole pulley itself. And you can see here, even this one, a state of it already, they wear down very, very quickly. And this is why you need to change it. Even this belt, you can see it's quite cut as well on it. And I'm glad I actually caught it now and changed it over. It's quite cut up and just deteriorated already. And you think, I actually changed this. If you go and watch my previous videos when I started YouTube, I only changed it then. On my car, I changed all the pulleys and this belt, and that was, like I say, on 140K, we're on 170K now, and this just shows you these belts and pulleys don't last that long. And this is something why you guys have to be checking this constantly, because you guys, if you did change it thinking it's gonna last another 100K, it probably won't, because especially look at mine, and you gotta think, last time I overhauled it was 3 years ago. When I first started YouTube, this car, I had just only overhauled it before I started YouTube. And you got to think, this car was on 130K then, and I'm on 170K now, so I've only done 40,000 miles, and this belt is already near its end of its life. This pulley is at the end of its life. The only good thing is the tensioners don't need to be replaced all the time. This is cheap anyway. These are about £20, but as I said to you, be careful when buying these pulleys, because people will have you believe it's a different pulley for every different car. They use the same pulley on all BMWs, whether it's a 1 Series, whether it's the black valve cover, whether it's the silver valve cover, it's the same pulley throughout. So don't be fooled. They're charging you more thinking you're gonna get the wrong one, because you're not. It's literally all the same idler pulley, so don't even be fooled by it. Pay the cheapest price you see. If it is the one for the silver valve cover and you have the black N52 engine, buy it, because it's the same one for N54, same one for M57 as well. Don't be fooled letting people make you believe that it's not the correct one, because it is. And I know that because I've changed always these exact pulleys. I mean, you can buy them on Amazon as well, but would you trust to buy one on there? You can if it's a Febby one, but anything else, I wouldn't trust it at all, because it will not come with this plate that's meant to go behind here when you actually tighten down this pulley. So be careful with that. But thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. D now, and I hope this video is going to help many of you actually save your car, because as I said to you, this problem, I don't know if it's creeping up on high mileage cars or older cars, or it's just, like I say, user error. But thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.